After this brilliant final discussion, the program will continue with the second keynote address by Engineer Sami Sarhan. Engineer Sarhan is the Chief Advisor at the National Industrial Development Center, an international expert with exceptional experience in Industry 4.0. Today, Engineer Sarhan will speak to you about Logistics 4.0, enabling smart, resilient, and competitive industrial supply chain in Saudi Arabia.
I hope you don't mind. I'll be walking on the stage here to give you what it actually means for us to talk about Logistics 4.0. Now, we all understand the importance of logistics, and I think it is no longer becoming a support function. It is becoming a competitive engines for any industry and any country. And we have all seen the interruptions that actually happened. The very first one during Corona time, for example, we all understood how severe was that for the supply chain, for the whole rest of the world. And obviously, the latest war that actually happened, we also understood how important is that for us to be strong in supply chain, localizations and advanced manufacturing. This is something that we all also understand, that a lot of the local supply chain very important for many commodities and many products. So this is something that we also depends a lot on logistic performance. Customers are actually increasingly expected shorter lead times, and we can see that a lot of the Amazon words, the known words of things are actually requiring immediate and the shorter time for us to be able to come into to the customers. Industrial value creations now depending on how intelligent good actually moves. Today, you can actually track a very specific product and your shipment, and you'll be able to know exactly where we are. So this is just the basis of what we think logistics becoming important. But however, this is not only the one. There's a lot more. Now, I don't know if there is actually a logistical revolutions just like Industrial Revolution 4.0. But we all understand that Industry 4.0 moved through the chain of mechanizations and electrifications, and then the automations, but the same goes with the logistics as well, where there has been a major change in how logistics are being actually handled. And what we're going to be talking about today is Logistic 4.0, where we think that some of the technologies are actually adding a lot of value into making that happening and possible, that we're going to talk about a little bit in more details. Now, we all know that my Industry 4.0 might stop at the factory gate, but taking that product from the factory all the way to the customers, you require so many things. You need feasibility, velocity, resilience, productivity. You will probably need transportations, warehouse. All of that is actually within the logistics. What we think Logistics 4.0 is actually beyond Industry 4.0 at the factory wall. Now, I think Engineer Yusuf Al-Majouni mentioned something extremely important. Every time we need to apply smart manufacturing or advanced manufacturing, data is the most important thing. Okay, if you do not have the right data, if you do not have the data that actually can support you to take the right decisions, you will not be able to reach to what we take. So, for example, you need to capture as much data as possible. You need to be able to connect those data through the various warehouse management systems, the ERPs, and the manufacturing execution system, and then you need to make a sense of that data, what exactly that data will look like, and how that actually can help you to take the right decision. I think what data enables is visibility, predictions, optimization, autonomy. And this is very, very important. Otherwise, you will not be able to reach to what you want to reach if you do not have the right data at the core. So no data, no visibility, no context, no intelligence. With that, I'd like to okay, if I should flip. All right. So automation is something very important, just one aspect of Logistic 4.0. Now, when we talk about automations, we've been seeing this everywhere. Even cars have been automated. Tesla, you can self-drive. A lot of dark factories within the factory floor. You would like to they wanted to automate. The same thing goes with automations into logistics. Now, in order for you to understand automations, it is not a machine replacing people. A lot of people think of if I automate, I replace people. This is, by the way, a wrong perceptions. Okay, you may replace labor, you may replace some of the jobs, a repetitive job, but you're not going to replace people ever. I think human will always be in the loop in the automations. But what's more important to understand, in order for you to really apply automation, you have to have some sort of automation stack with sense and identify. You need to understand that IoTs, technologies like in Internet of Things, it's extremely important to be available within the frame of your logistics infrastructures. Then orchestrate and optimize. Understand how those data that is being collected, that was you sensed it, how that actually will be able to transform into something that meaningful and be able to understand. Obviously, execute and adopt. And I'm going to give you an example right after that. How an AGVs, for example, an AMR can actually work very much with automation. Now, as I said, this is just one aspect of Logistic 4.0. There are many others as well. Now, you probably heard about this, and we've seen many videos about the phase 4 project of Shanghai Yangshan Deep Port. The actual port actually transform these containers autonomously without any human driving this particular machine. Now, you can imagine a magnitude of these containers being moved in such a large area without any human. You can imagine the technologies behind it. So you need a lot of IoTs, you need a lot of AIs, you need a lot of data, you need a lot of sensing every milliseconds. So this is just one example of what could a Logistic 4.0 can provide to you. The other examples is always a well-known, of course, Amazon Logistic 4.0. It has a beautiful examples of where you can see that you're not just using the AMRs here, you're using the AI, machine learning, you need autonomous mobile robots, computer vision, real-time data platform. All of that has to be available within the warehouse, for example, to be able to use it. Now, you can see the benefit right away. They're actually doing up to 6 million packages per day. This is very the 2 billion packages handles by robotics and packaging. There's 20% lower pick failure rate. So the benefit of Logistic 4.0 is right there with only one technology. By the way, there's many other technology stack that we can think of what could actually include Logistic 4.0. I'm just going to talk about one particular technology, which is the automated mobile robot. By the way, in the center where I handle the new technologies in the National Industrial Development Center, we have this available to us as an investment opportunity. And lucky enough to say that we already have some investors in the kingdom who are actually building these AMRs, and hopefully we'll be able to see them very closely. Although I will be more than happy to actually announce the names, but I'd like to rather keep it before it's actually announced officially. So what does AMR do? So merge goods on automations, actually integrate with warehouse management systems, adopt routes, specifically optimize material flow, and many other things that it can actually does. Now, again, core technologies, they cannot move just like that, or there's no human actually moving these AMRs. There's an actual AI, there's a LiDAR, there's an actually fleet management software, IO2, real-time data analysis, collision avoidance. All of that is available within these technologies. And that's just one example of what Logistics 4.0 is. Now, the question is that we've just spoke about Logistics 4.0, we just spoke about the technology, we spoke about how important it is, we spoke about some of the examples internationally. What is means for the kingdom? So how the kingdom is actually moving toward that. So very quickly, our location. So we very high level. We are located in a very strategic location in the world. We are not so far away from anywhere in the world. We have our 10 ports. We have 29 airports. We have 40 plus industrial cities. We have over 5,600 railways, and that's going to actually be increasing. So we are, in terms of infrastructures, we are ready right there. In terms of the actual strategy that was put by the National Transport Logistics strategy, we have actually built whatever it takes for us to be able to be ready from 6 to 9, 10% transport logistics by 2030. We would like to increase our railway network to almost 8,000 kilometers. We want to 4.5 million tons of international destination. So we do have what it takes. Now, not only that, we are actually building 59 logistics centers in the kingdom. Those are distributed around the kingdom. Not only that, now in addition to what we think the Logistics 4.0 requires in terms of technology, this is a very good map that I always show when I actually speak about Industry 4.0. So there is a huge ecosystem around the kingdom that helping and supporting Industry 4.0. As you can see, without going into details, all the way from the ministry to universities to various other entities to private sectors, we are actually helping. So this is actually the basis to help and support to implement Logistic 4.0, because you already have the basis in Industry 4.0. You already have who in the kingdom who can help you and support you with this. And just a few minutes ago, we spoke about, for example, the Industry 4.0 centers that is available around the kingdom. As you can see them, you have in Caxton, Budden, in Coust, in Spark, and the Neum. The one in Spark and Neum is not yet initiated, but the three ones actually already initiated. Now, not only that, now you can say, Sami, a lot of these technologies, where are we going to get them? So a good question is that, are we going to all import? Absolutely not. So our role in the National Industrial Development Center, as well as the stack of ecosystem that you've actually heard, we're all helping and supporting in localization. So you need to understand that we need to start localizing sensors, all types, RF cameras, edge devices. This is something, as we speak, we're actually talking about, and we are actually localizing machines. Obviously, we are, as I said, we are localizing AMRs and AGVs and all these robotics arm. It is part of our scope in the center that we're actually localizing. Software, yes, in the NIDC, we might not focus on software. However, the Ministry of Information Technology actually and Communication do look at softwares and services. Obviously, it is extremely important to have the cybersecurity and the maintenance requires for that. Data governance, something very important as well. So every sector of the government looking at these individually and seeing how actually we can actually localize, because otherwise we will not be able to. So just to respect time here, if there is 3 key OA notes from this particular, so logistics becoming a data-driven industrial capability, we all know how important it is. We cannot ignore it anymore. This is in the heart of what we do. Logistic 4.0 is Industry 4.0 across supply chain. Logistic 4.0 cannot by itself be implemented without having a strong Industry 4.0 framework, which I actually explained. And the last thing I wanted to talk about, Saudi Arabia is a strong front from to lead. So if there is any investor today with us today, need to understand that we as a country, we are actually moving very fast in terms of technology adoption and smart manufacturing. And thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Are we allowed some housing questions? Yes, please take some questions.
Okay. I think we can take one or two questions. Perfect. Want to give the mic here?
السلام عليكم. سلام، شكرا مهندس سامي على العرض المتميز. أنا عندي الحقيقة سؤالين. أنت لما تكلمت عن Logistic 4.0 across supply chain it is the industry، فهل تتكلم أنت عن Logistic 4.0 just tailored to industry or logistic in general with other activities other than industry? This first question. Second question, you said already there are 59 logistic centers. Are they the 59 logistic centers is industrial logistic center or in general for all the economic activities?
I
Thank
think
you.
this is a very easy two questions. The answer is in general for both. So yes, we actually talked about the technology stack and what's the relations with Industry 4.0, but honestly speaking is across all sectors, not particularly industry, as well as the 59 centers or zones, let me put it this way, they're not specifically for any particular industry, is across all.
Last question.
Yes, please.
The most important thing for developing the AI is the data.
Thank you. Thank you so
And
much.
now you mention in the data governors. I just point out on the data governors. Data governors is subject to 191 criteria, not 190, under 14 columns. I didn't see, according to my knowledge so far, any consulting house can do this data governors complying with the 191 standard that is developed globally. Thank you.
Amazing, and I cannot disagree with you. This is extremely important. The data and data governance are the major generators of all of these applications. And if we're going to be talking about data, honestly speaking, we will not end the whole day just to emphasize on that. And again, I cannot disagree with you. Data governance is very important. As you say, there's 191 pillars of those. It will be very difficult for any one firm to actually meet all of those 191. However, if they can meet at least some of them that tailor to their organization, that will be good enough. Thank you so much for the note. Thank you.